Introducing the newest train in Britain. Welcome on board the London Northwestern Railway Class 730. This long distance fleet was introduced a few weeks ago now, and I tried them out during their first week of commercial service. Spoiler alert, they're not as bad as you'd think for a new train in the UK. We'll be taking a ride between London and Northampton as we see what makes them a huge upgrade to what they're replacing. Now join me as the journey continues. London Northwestern Railway use Euston station in central London. Not as grand or welcoming as the nearby St Pancras and King's Cross stations, but it's just as significant, being the southern terminus of Britain's West Coast Main Line, as well as the future site of the brand new HS2 line, though it seems this reality is getting further and further away following recent announcements. Euston Station opened in 1837 as London's first intercity terminal and still plays a major role in connecting London with Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool and Glasgow amongst other key cities in the UK, with plenty of shops and eateries present as well to accommodate its high passenger numbers. This is one of the busiest train stations in the UK, seeing over 36 million passengers annually using both its many long distance and commuter services. On that note, we can see our service on the recently reinstated Grand Departure Board, the 1619 to Northampton, though no platform is displayed yet as you can see. One way around this is to do a quick search on real-time trains, which shows an orange class 730, but more importantly, shows our train will be leaving from platform 11 today, so let's get a move on. Platforms 8 to 11 are the only platforms in Euston to use automatic ticket gates, owing to platforms 9 to 10 serving the London Overground's Lioness line. Checks are otherwise done manually by station staff, but we can just scan my e-ticket on the barcode reader here and head on through. On the platform we can see a class 730, but this is not the one we're catching today. Part of the ever-growing Aventra family, these trains were built for West Midlands trains by Bombardier and later Alstom in two series between 2020 and 2024, this variant being the 90 mph capable 3-car Class 730-0 used by the West Midlands Railway brand on local services in the West Midlands. However, these sets first entered service with the London Northwestern Railway brand on outer suburban services on the West Coast Main Line to allow the withdrawal of the elderly Class 319 units. The interior of these trains is much more suited for commuter and suburban services, being laid out in a metro-style 2x2 configuration with plenty of grab handles too. Very nice. Perhaps the biggest difference of the 730 compared to previous Aventra designs, such as the London Overground Class 710, is the provision of end gangways on the cabs, allowing complete movement throughout the entire train for both passengers and staff when units run in multiple, as we'll see later on. As the orange 730 leaves for Tring, our green 730 should be pulling in from the sidings momentarily. So I thought until another orange 730 pair showed up. Another quick check on real-time trains later and I needed to make a quick move over to platform 13. Thankfully as I arrived, so did my 730 as it prepared to take us up to Northampton this evening. The 730 variant I'll be catching today is the Class 730-2, these being built specifically for the London Northwestern sub-brand of West Midlands trains, for use on both outer suburban and long distance routes on the West Coast Main Line. The 730-2 is 5 carriages long, capable of 110 mph, and has an interior more suited for long distance work than the 730-0, as we'll see shortly. These 36, originally 45, electric multiple units were controversially ordered primarily to replace L&R's 37 Class 350-2 Desiros, primarily due to the latter's high lease costs despite only having been introduced in 2009. The remaining 50 350s will be supplemented by the 730s, which, thanks to their longer body profile and ability to form 10-car sets, will also free up L&R's remaining 350s to strengthen other services. Okay, let's hurry on board. The train's already delayed and we'll be leaving fairly soon. I still find it strange how the Aventras were not built with level boarding, but I guess this is the norm on UK railways. Not that it's okay. I've entered through the second class section, which we'll take a detailed look at later, but through this door is a first class section comprising 2/3 of the leading driving vehicle. When the units were first built, first class was still a thing on LNR, but since May 2023 this has since been declassified, meaning it's free for everyone to use. This mainly comprises of table seats with a few airline ones here and there, though there are definitely some you'd want to avoid. The seats are the same Fainza Sophia brand ones as used on the Class 800s used by both LNER and GWR, though there are some minor differences as we'll see later. Compared to earlier Aventras which were primarily built for commuter services, I'm impressed with both the overhead luggage space and the larger racks throughout the carriage. Very fit for purpose. Owing to the warm weather and chaos around Euston, we leave London 7 minutes late at 4:26.
We will be calling at Watford Junction, Milton Keynes Central and Northampton.
Immediately after leaving Euston, we could see the ongoing works to link the HS2 line from Old Oak Common directly into the station, which was recently confirmed by the government following a long period of uncertainty. After this, we passed Camden sidings. Along with other members of the LNR fleet, the 730-2s are stabled here with one set on standby for crew and driver training purposes. It's then on to the main stretch of the West Coast Main Line, where we pass many of the suburbs within northwest London. This includes Wembley, with Wembley Intercity Depot seen just to the right. Amongst the freight and new stock pending entry to service are elderly stock in storage or awaiting scrap, an example of the former being some LNR Class 350-2s, which started going off lease a few months ago now. Oh, and don't miss Wembley Stadium in the background before the view is obstructed passing Wembley Central. Anyway, before we reach our first stop, let's have a quick look at the interior of this brand new 730. Despite these seats being infamous for their comfort, there's been an improvement made to the padding which is welcome, not to mention this section no longer being first class helps. Foldable armrests can also be found on the middle and aisle side of the seats, and not only is the sign here a welcome addition compared to the trains they're replacing, just as important is UK 3-pin power and USB-A sockets, though for a new train I would have liked to have seen USB-C as well. Legroom is pretty decent considering there's no one sitting opposite me, which would be an issue otherwise as I'm at one of the table seats. This would be different if I was sitting at one of the airline seats, which is slightly worse given the support bar at the base of the seat, a problem with the Aventra family in general. These also have foldable tray tables that can be extended like so. To adjust the legroom further, you can make use of the manual recline function, which works by pulling this lever here and sliding yourself as appropriate. Below the overhead racks are touch sensor operated reading lights, and on the windows are draw down blinds, which, in my opinion, are much easier to use and more effective than the curtains on the older trains these will be replacing. All in all, a good first impression. Bonus points that this isn't first class anymore, otherwise I'd be saying the opposite. The approach to Watford is where we start experiencing the full potential of the Class 730-2. Unlike previous Aventra models which have slightly lower top speeds, the 730-2s are able to reach a maximum speed of 110 miles per hour on the West Coast Main Line, the highest speed possible on the line for non-tilting trains at the moment. While some Aventras have rather questionable ride quality at higher speeds, I found this variant to be very good throughout the trip, even at the maximum speed. "15 minutes of travel time later, we reach our first stop of Watford Junction, which is where you can also change for the St Albans Abbey branch which LNR also operates. You can also alight here for buses to the Warner Brothers studio tour if that's more your fancy.
We'll sort it. See it, say it.
Before I show you around the rest of the train, let me show you my favourite feature, the display screens. Unlike the trains these are replacing, the screens show all sorts of useful onboard information, such as the calling points, whether the toilets are occupied or not, and how busy the train is. You can see why I came into the front unit rather than the rear one. Just above the doors, you'll also find a route map of L&R's network, which is a sneak peek of things to come once these units expand their sphere of operations along the West Coast main line. You may have gotten a glimpse of it earlier as we were boarding, but here's a proper look at the main de facto second class section, which, to the relief of my shoulders, is in a 2x2 configuration, so much easier to walk around than a 720. As previously mentioned, this is an Aventra adapted for long distance services, and as such features a nice mixture of airline and table seating, and uses the same keel seating found on the Class 720s for example. Whilst this is comfier than most new seating on UK trains these days, and power and USB-A sockets unlike the 350-2s are welcoming, what lets them down is the legroom, which is again spoiled thanks to the support bar at the base of the seat in front. Otherwise, more than suitable for the routes these units will be running on, which are typically no more than 2.5 hours at best. But, as with the first class cabin, the window alignment in some cases is very poor, as highlighted by the seating next to the vestibules here. Probably one of the biggest problems with the Aventra family as a whole in all honesty. Shame it wasn't fixed with these. Towards the middle of the train is the large wheelchair accessible space, with storage for 3 bikes being located next to the PRM specified toilet, which is not only large and spacious, but also immaculately clean as you would expect from a brand new train. Accompanying this are 2 standard toilets, which gives a total of 3 per unit. A welcome upgrade to the previous 2 on the Class 350s, these will be supplementing and replacing. As mentioned earlier, all variants of the Class 730 have walk-through gangways at each end of the driving vehicles, meaning not only can you walk between units if you need to find a seat, but you can also take a sneak peek inside the driver's cabin. You know, if you're curious. Given how busy the rear unit is though, I think I'll stick with the one I boarded on. Continuing up the West Coast main line, we soon pass Bletchley in the Milton Keynes suburbs. To the right we can see the East West Rail Station, which is expected to start serving passengers later this year in December, as well as Bletchley carriage sidings where stabling of the L&R fleet is carried out. Bletchley Train Maintenance Depot, located along the Marston Vale line which L&R serves between here and Bedford, carries out heavy maintenance of the 730s. Not long later, we arrive into our final intermediate stop of the trip, Milton Keynes Central. Milton Keynes is a new city and one of the last to have been granted city status by Queen Elizabeth II in August 2022, and is the largest settlement in the county of Buckinghamshire. It's also worth noting that since this video was recorded, the 730-2s have expanded their sphere of operation onto suburban stopping services between here and Euston, so if you're using L&R between London and Milton Keynes anytime soon, you may just end up on one of these units. After Milton Keynes, we then cross from the fast line onto the slow line as we continue towards Northampton, but not before passing Wolverton to the north of Milton Keynes, which is probably one of the biggest platform gaps I can think of. Can you think of any others? The reason for moving to the slow line is to diverge from the main West Coast main line onto the Northampton Loop line, which uses the road cutting to head towards the city, and signals that our trip on the new 730 is coming to an end. To conclude, I was really impressed with the brand new Class 730-2. Whilst the legroom and window alignment issues that plagued earlier Aventra designs are still present, I do think these are a huge upgrade to what they're replacing and a very welcome addition to travel on Britain's busiest rail route. I'm very much looking forward to future trips on these units, hopefully further north towards Birmingham and Liverpool next time. I booked this trip on the day, paying £25.65 for my off-peak day return, and I'm sad to say that it also includes my Railcard discount of a third. I do wish train travel in the UK was cheaper for spontaneous trips like this one, especially considering this isn't the premium operator on the West Coast, but I hope that's something that can be worked towards in the future. In the end, we pull into Northampton station a few minutes late due to the issues on the West Coast main line earlier, arriving at 18 minutes past 5. Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you travelled on the new Class 730-2 yet? What do you think of it, and do you prefer it to the Class 350? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Before I head home, it's off to buy some drinks on this incredibly warm day and take some time to view the All Aboard. It's amazing to think how many people have travelled here by train from all over the country and even beyond. Thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.